When you dance the dance of another, you make yourself in the image of its creator.
I feel like I'm not even here yet.
The dumpling's incredible.
1, 2, 3.
The way she transmits her work.
You have to decide, what is it you want to be for this company?
There's more in that building than what you can see, Doctor.
Hello, listeners. This is Geoff Arbuckle.
This is Jason Oliver.
And this is a special edition.
Special.
A special of it is Film Seizure Special number 2.
Yes. it's special.
It's special. We're going to...
Is it number 2?
It is the special number 2.
All
yes.
right, cool.
Yes. So every now and then we want to do these specials like this. It kind of came about with the Joe Bob episode some months ago. We thought, well, let's talk about that. So it doesn't really fit in with any other normal episode.
Yeah.
We'll just throw out a little bit, a little nugget of info on a Monday.
Yeah, and that's
what we're doing.
And this is one that it's in theaters now. It's pretty current.
And it ties back to something we talked about in the past.
Exactly, and one of our earliest series of episodes, in fact.
Yes, so we are talking about the new Suspiria.
Yes.
The 2018, what's the name of the director? I don't have that in my notes.
Luca, I'm going to totally screw this up because I think he's Italian, right? Luca Guadagnino.
Guadagnino. Sorry,
Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, he is obviously Italian because he also has a string of pizza joints in malls.
Yes.
Lucas Pizza.
I mean, you could put that face
oh my God,
on the promotions and it would sell a lot of pizza. Like that's authentic. That screams authentic Italian pizza. You got to put that on the website or something because
it also kind of looks like what happens if Jason Mantzoukas was Italian instead of Greek.
Yes, that is about as spot on as a description as I could imagine. Like if Jason Mantzoukas dressed up as Mario for Halloween, that would be this guy for sure. Oh God!
All right, so we've got lots to say about this and not much time to say it.
Yeah.
So I want to start by what happened after the movie. We go see this movie, which is interesting because I'm not sure how many places this is playing.
Yeah.
When I went to look to see if it was playing, it only gave me this one theater, which is not the Art House Theater. It was not an AMC. It was not a Regal. It was just...
It's the Landmark.
Right, which is...
So that's a little interesting. So there's 2 Landmark theaters in Indianapolis. The main Landmark Theater, which is at the hoity-toity mall at Keystone of the Crossing.
The fashion mall.
Is the Arts Theater.
Yes.
But it is like an arts theater. It doesn't show like good fucking genre art films like Mandy. It shows, I don't know, like a lot of bullshit.
Well, it was where half the Oscar nominees last year played. It's like,
don't get me wrong.
Call Me by Your Name was there first, and
I mean, it's awesome theater. It really is, and it serves a really great niche. But there's another niche in the city that is not met, and it's for films that are a little bit more like The Void or Mandy, right? Like those end up playing like special engagements, and you have to just kind of catch it. But they don't freaking play. They don't give those types of movies long runs. But anyway, I would have expected Suspiria to play at that theater
because this movie is at least wants to be an art movie.
Most definitely.
And I applaud that effort in that.
But instead, it played at the Landmark near my house,
which is
in my
kind of in a
neighborhood.
rundown mall area. Because here in Indianapolis, indoor malls are kind of going away. There's only really 2 that are going to survive. And this was one of those malls that is starting to die. And
it's kind of reimagined itself, to be quite honest. It's not a mall anymore. It's something else. It's outdoor, like access shopping.
Right, like Target and stuff like that. So now I will admit that maybe I did not have my search parameters wide enough, and I thought, oh, this is the only place it's playing. I don't know.
Well, it worked out for me. It's
it
5
worked
minutes
out for
from
you
my house.
and it wasn't too far for me either. It took me 15 minutes to get
But this
there.
is one of the few remaining theaters in the area that is open seating. It's stadium seating, but it's run down. I mean, there's gum stains on the chairs and shit. I mean,
no recliners in this.
Yeah,
theater.
they don't recline. I mean, it is.
I'm glad it didn't recline.
It's a pretty janky little theater, but it was funny because Jeff was like, "Well, I already bought our tickets in advance." I was like, "Okay, but I don't think you needed to."
I overestimate and underestimate nerds constantly, and when I saw the guy that was in our showing walking around, like I'm out in the parking lot because it took me so little time to get there. I'm out there reading a Swamp Thing comic, and I see a guy walking along with a Suspiria shirt on. I'm like, oh. I may have not overestimated the nerds, Mr. Oliver.
But you did.
Yeah, but I did. I did.
There was a smattering of people in there.
But still, it was one of those things, let's just get it in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know.
We wanted to see it.
We
loved the original.
Yeah.
So, sure.
So after the movie, we'll talk about the movie here in just a moment. But after the movie, we go to the John. And, you go into one of the stalls and start pooping, and I'm peeing in between your legs, as we do when we talk about we're doing that right now as we're talking about these movies.
This is how we talk about movies.
This is what
we have to defecate and urinate
in the same stall.
In the same stall.
At the same time.
It's really awkward and weird, but it works for us.
Yeah, it gets our juices flowing.
Literally.
So we're sitting there talking about this movie, and I made no bones about that. I didn't fucking understand what happened in this movie.
The guy behind us seemed to think he did.
And I have an explanation for that, actually, in the long run, after I thought about what he was saying. And you made a very excellent point. You said that I don't think this is a remake. And I agree with that. And you basically said, I think it's more of a reimagining. It's like,
yeah, you gave me that word, but yes.
Yeah. And I agree with that because this is not, I knew going in this was not going to be a remake of Suspiria,
right.
that it was something different. It takes character names, it takes certain beats, and then it just kind of gives you something new. And for that, I applaud Luca.
I have something to say about that because here's my problem with it.
Okay.
Is why even call it Suspiria? Because what I feel all this movie really truly did was completely subvert the original. I think it took.
Oh yeah, that's one of my notes.
It essentially inverted every expectation you would have from the original and did something different with it, right down to the aesthetic and the music. So for that, I think it's just fucking lazy. I'll be honest. Like I think that the vision was just let's do something completely different so we can divorce ourselves from the original. But yet, I don't think it went far enough. Why did it have to be in the setting it was in? Why did it even have to be called Suspiria?
True. It is set in Germany, 1977. When I thought it was going to be present day, I don't know why. I just assumed it was present day.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Because most movies are present day when you go see them. But anyway, fair enough. I mean, we talked a little bit about this in our Halloween episode a couple of weeks ago also, where I can't fault Rob Zombie for wanting to do something different. Now, what he came up with was stupid, but I can't blame him for wanting to do something different. That's kind of how I feel about this.
Well, I feel the same way in principle because, yes, I mean, you're remaking a movie that doesn't really need to be remade at all, which is why I kind of feel like if you're going to make a spiritual remake or whatever we want to call that, just do something completely different.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to even hit any of the same beats. If only to, it's almost like a tease, right?
Yeah.
You're giving everyone these little things about the original that you're latching onto, and then using that as a manipulative tool to twist it against the audience.
Sure.
And I don't really care for that. It very much felt like a manipulation while I was watching this movie.
Yeah, and I can agree with that because so some of the things. Basic story of Suspiria is the same.
Yeah.
Susie Bannion comes from America, goes to Germany, ends up in a dance school where she is kind of excels. She meets some people, and guess what? Witches.
Yeah, witches.
this movie is almost twice as long as the original.
Oh yeah, it feels like it too.
Because they start packing in some other stuff. Now, I am going. Okay,
Yeah.
First of all,
They sure do.
yeah. Okay. Also, I want to be. I want to say that I am. One other thing I thought of when we were prepping to talk about this movie, and a week has passed since we've seen it, and I thought about this all week. We have seen 4 contemporary movies in the history of our show.
Okay.
We saw Rampage, The Meg, Halloween,
And
and Suspiria. Right?
No, 2018.
In 2018. 75% of those we didn't like.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I probably would like Rampage and The Meg more a second time now that I understand what it's giving us. I don't know if I'd like it that much more, but I would at least say, okay, it's a fucking giant shark movie, or
Right.
here's some monsters and The Rock, whatever. So I don't want you people to think that we just shit on
I don't know
current
if that's
movies.
true. I don't want to waste a lot of time on that, but I don't think that that's necessarily true about Rampage and The Meg. I think that we wanted more of what you just described, and we didn't get it. That's why we didn't like it.
Fair enough, but I now have a different contextual
Fair enough.
view of the movies now, right? Because I've seen them, I know what they're about. I'm not going out and renting them, but I'm not going to fault anybody for saying I want to see that. Did you like it? And I'm like,
Yeah.
But I don't want people to think that we just shit on anything that's new.
It's also like not that fun or original just shit on a movie like Rampage. I mean,
Right.
it's fucking Rampage.
Right. We said our piece on it, and we
Yeah.
moved on. So I want to say that we didn't just go in expecting to dislike Suspiria.
No.
We had our doubts a year ago when we talked about the original. We started seeing previews and stuff, and we saw what the aesthetic was going to be. We had our doubts, but I went in last Saturday morning saying, I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm not even going to think of the original up to a certain point, but I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let all of my doubts go. So with that said, let's talk about a few things that I liked and that you might have liked too. I don't know. We'll see what.
Okay,
we'll see
sure.
We'll see what we have.
Sure. Well, yeah.
We'll compare notes.
I think
if you
that's
will.
a good way to approach this because, yeah, fair. All
okay.
right.
First of all, I really like Tilda Swinton in this.
I do too.
While she is one of the witches, spoiler alert, I feel that she's very. You can you like her. I didn't feel like that she was necessarily being as evil as some of the other witches, or at least not on the surface.
She seemed complex.
Yes.
And this is probably on your list, but I liked the power struggle within the coven. That she was kind of she had a vision for the coven and where it should go, and she was in a battle with another witch who was their leader.
I didn't get that detailed in my notes. I got
Okay.
real detailed in my notes, but not smart pants detailed.
But I think part of what I liked about Tilda Swinton's character is that she brought a realist kind of aspect to
Sure.
what it is to be a witch in this time and place.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of the infighting within the coven was important to that character.
Yeah, I've got a little bit to say about that here in just a moment too. I also like the fact that the movie did use muted colors because you can't replicate the brightness of the original of all of the primary colors used in the original.
Nope. I didn't.
You didn't like that?
Nope. I didn't at all. And the reason, look, here it is. It's one of those subversions, right? It's like, oh, the original Suspiria is all beautiful colors and it's hyper color, right? So we're going to go the exact opposite of that.
Fair enough.
You know what? Find a middle ground. You don't have to bring a complete negative in the color palette.
Sure.
I mean, it was that to me was just so weary on the eyes.
Which is funny because when they do use bright colors in near the end of the movie, it did almost feel out of place to me though, because now it's like, oh wait, now we're gonna just cover everything in red blood.
Yeah.
And
maybe that was his point, but
maybe I don't know.
No, I didn't care for the cinematography or color palette one bit.
Okay. I did like the beginning of the movie with the rambling Patricia character because I thought that set a good tone. That there's some weird shit going on.
Yeah,
because the movie begins with one of the dancers going to the psychiatrist, who is also played by Tilda Swinton, this old man, which I find kind of fascinating. Because until you sent me the article that explained that, I had no idea.
Right. Which is a problem.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. But I like the fact that, you know, she's talking about witches. She's talking about people wanting to climb inside her. Then she starts talking to people who aren't there about a concert in German. She's switching back and forth between languages, and that leads to one of my problems that I do have with the movie in what the movie's trying to say in that scene. So I'll just move on from that for right now. Bookmark that. I do like that there is a claustrophobic feel to the setting, and to you always feel like there's no place to go in this, that you're kind of trapped. It turns out you're kind of trapped for almost 3 hours.
Yes.
And then there is some usage of general weirdness in the periphery. Like, it's not jump scares. It's stuff that's happening around the characters or off in the corner of the screen or something. I always will appreciate that. Flat out.
Okay. Getting back to the color, I'm gonna let you finish.
No, I'm done. That's all I like.
Oh wow.
We've got some other some other things to go off.
There was
of
somebody who put this perfectly on Twitter that a friend shared with me after the trailer came out for Suspiria.
Okay.
And it's the Twitter handle of @Bakkoon. That's 3 O's, BAKKOOONN. I want to give credit where credit's due here, but he says, I mean, the Suspiria remake looks like it will be fine, but the reticence of movies in general to melt my face off with color is fucking appalling. I'm tired of having to wade through the color palette of a coward for 90 minutes.
Well, I got news for him. It's like 200. It's like
right.
300 million minutes.
But that is so how I feel about movies today.
Sure,
which
fair enough.
is part of the reason why I was so fucking just filled with joy by Panos Cosmatos' Mandy.
Sure,
because this is a filmmaker who is like, look, I'm going to fuck your face, melt your face off with color.
Fuck your face off.
Fuck your face and melt it with color, right? So, and I understand it was an artistic choice. It was like a reflection of the time and place, the German.
Man, we've got
what is it? The political period they were going through was like the German Autumn or something like that. Like, I get it.
Oh boy,
but that again leads to another problem, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, you want to know why I love the Marvel movies so much? Is that they let the characters have their costume colors. You know, like Captain America is red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is red and blue. You know, it's they use the color palette of those characters, the iconography of those characters, and they still set it in a relatively realistic way. For what it is.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
anyway.
one would argue that all those movies look the same, right? And that there is no directorial style, but it works.
It works because the source material is intended to all feel the same.
It's exactly right. It's more of a writer series than it is a director series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's now transition to the problems.
Yep.
Number one, in all caps, I have written too many things. It wants to do all the things.
It's really, really true. It does. It tries to pack so many ideas that what ends up happening is none of them work.
Right. And I kind of feel like that some of the ideas are somewhat condescending.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's go back to that opening scene that I did like, that ultimately plays out in a way that I feel is such fucking condescension that I want to punch this movie in its fucking face. So, girl shows up at a doctor's house.
Yeah.
Rambling about witches, rambling to things that aren't in the room, going fucking bonkers. He writes down that she has what's the
Was it delusions?
Delusions.
Yeah.
She's delusional.
Yeah.
Probably brought on from stress of the dance school.
Yeah.
And her political affiliation with the stuff that's going on in the German. Just look it up, kids. It's a thing that happened in 1977. So,
which seems like a pretty fucking sound diagnosis, to be quite honest.
Yes. And to use that as a way to say that he is some sort of patriarchal fuck nugget.
Right.
Fuck you, movie.
Right.
Because I don't go to a doctor to say, I truly believe that somebody is trying to crawl into my body.
Right.
And I want them to say, well, it obviously is witches. Let's go fucking figure this. This is like saying, you know what I think? It's like going to that fucking guy with all the hair on the History Channel and saying, you know what I think is weird? Bricks. And then he says, instead of saying, well, you know, Mason's figured out that this is the way.
Aliens.
He's like, it's fucking aliens.
Yes.
And then leading us down this fucking road of insanity. That doesn't work, movie.
That entire character didn't work. Right down to Tilda Swinton's portrayal of him did not work.
I would say more the theme of that character didn't work.
The whole thing. All of it.
So this movie tries to talk about matriarchal societies versus patriarchal societies. Why that's in a horror movie and not the main theme, but just one of many themes, I have no idea. You can make this movie with that theme if that is your only theme.
Sure.
Because they do go into great lengths of showing the witches voting on a new leader and even going to the point of saying those who voted against the winner will not be held against, even though it totally is at the end, which I don't know what that's trying to say. Are you trying to say that matriarchal society just sucks as much as patriarchal? Because that's kind of what it comes out.
That's exactly what it comes out in the end.
But that's not what they were trying to say. Fuck you, movie. Don't condescend to me with that shit. You know, it's like that's... I don't want a psychiatrist to believe my delusions are the reality.
No. That's a bad psychiatrist.
Yeah. So if you want that character to be that, then that's a bad idea for the movie too. It's kind of like a, I don't know, one reviewer referred to it as folksy, and it is kind of like a goofy, superficial description of delusion, but he even goes so far as to say that a delusion is a lie that tells the truth. Right? Right.
Which is honestly, in a context of his role in the movie, is pretty damn astute, because there's an understanding that while a delusion is not something that is true, it is something that the person who is perceiving the delusion believes to be true.
Right. So you treat the sickness, not the root cause of it.
Right.
Because the root cause of it is, I mean, the doctor's job is not to go witch hunting.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, anyway.
But even if the doctor did go witch hunting, what version of the patriarchy is he then serving? Because if he's going out to destroy the witches, that's a whole nother level of subtext that needs to be explored.
Exactly. And so the other thing about that character that is very important to this movie and leads to something that I think is one of the worst ways to end a movie is so he is this old man who, in the 1940s, as shit's getting real bad in Germany, we've got Nazis on one side, you got the invading Russians on the other.
Yeah.
And he hesitates to leave Germany when his wife wants to leave. That's not a sign of patriarchal fuck up. That is hoping that things are going to get better, not really realizing that it ain't. And that happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's natural to try to figure out what you think the next thing should do. Yes, in context, in history, hindsight being 2020, you should fucking leave when the Nazis took over. But in the moment, you can't make that decision the same way. So to blame him for his wife's death, he feels the guilt already.
Right.
He is human.
Yeah.
He feels the guilt of his wife being captured and thrown into a camp and killed. It's not his fucking fault, though.
Nope.
It is.
He's a fucking victim. They both are.
They both are victims. He is not the cause of his wife's death.
So to try and actively seek out another villain in him in that context is extremely condescending, and it's dangerous.
Problematic as fuck.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. We live in interesting times right now. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, we're going to have a different view on what could or should have happened.
Yeah, hindsight is perfect.
Right. Right now, we can't decide that for ourselves in absolutes until the absolute becomes reality. So if you don't think that the Nazis are going to come and throw you into a camp, you can't 100% say we have to go at this moment. Down the line, you can go back and say that's the moment we should have probably left.
Yeah.
Yep. But he is not. I hate that fucking part. And the end of the okay. So this movie is broken up in six. It tells you six acts.
I got to say something here first because this killed me. So we saw this movie together and with my wife and the same group, the same trio went to see Suspiria at the drive-in.
Yes,
this is the last time we saw Suspiria.
Yeah, that's true.
And we went to see this movie together, and Jeff was like, well, I heard it's only 98 minutes long, so,
I
cool.
must have been looking at the listing for the original.
Yeah,
because that's exactly how long it is.
Yeah. So, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I thought it maybe was a little longer. I didn't know exactly how long, but I was like, oh, cool. So we get into it, and it starts out with the first of 6 acts and an epilogue, and I'm like, oh, damn, those are going to be like really short acts.
We're gonna be moving along is what I'm thinking.
The first act was probably 30 minutes long.
It was 4 hours long.
And I'm thinking, I don't know how this is going to work. Like, how are they going to like tell this story? I mean, what are these going to be? What's this going to be? And then the second act was pretty long too. And I'm thinking, I don't think this movie's 98 minutes.
Well, when that came up on screen and it said a film in 6 acts and an epilogue, inside you couldn't have seen it, but my eyes started moving back and forth, and inside my brain I was like, uh-oh. So okay.
I feel like something like that, a title card that says 6 acts and an epilogue, would be something that Dario Argento would absolutely take a huge diarrhea dump on.
Well, he would have been like, yeah, each act is 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't feel the need to actually title them all and tell you that they're coming in advance.
Yeah, I had a little panic attack.
That's fucking pretension too, man. I mean, God, that to me, I know you're setting up your story, but that to me is a big warning sign that you think a whole hell of a lot more of yourself than we probably expected from this movie.
Well, he was making it out like a playbill,
Sure.
like saying this is how many acts or whatever.
It also kind of like it was like, oh man, is this movie directed by Wes Anderson? Like I also had I
wish.
Wouldn't that be kind of interesting? I actually I had a moment.
I want to see Owen Wilson play the Tilda Swinton.
I do. I had a moment where I was like, oh my God, if you just kind of made this, just subverted it just a bit, like tweaked the dials just a little bit on this movie and staged it like a Wes Anderson film, that might actually be really interesting.
Yeah, have track suits all over the place. Yeah. So anyway, the big finale is right. Okay, so they want a new witch or something like an old dying witch is trying to inhabit a new young body.
Here's what I think is going on. You have the 3 witch sisters, right?
Yeah, the guy behind us knew all about them.
Because
to be honest with you, I hadn't seen the other 2 movies in the trilogy that Dario Argento made.
I haven't either. It's
but that guy knew it all.
It's the Mother of Sighs. No, it's Mother of Sighs is Suspiria. It's a Mother of Tears, and
that's Mother Tenebraeum.
Right,
which is not from the movie Tenebrae.
the 2 movies in the trilogy are Inferno and Mother of Tears.
Mother
I
of
believe.
Tears,
yeah. So this the witch, the head of their coven, believes that she is the Mother of Sighs. Mother Suspirium, right?
Yeah.
And that she needs a new body to be reborn into because she's failing.
Yes, Patricia was the initial one, but she ultimately failed because of her political opinions of stuff and her activity in the German autumn. Whatever.
Well, I think they also realized in Susie that she was a better.
She was a better
stronger
candidate.
and better candidate
because Sarah wasn't good enough. Oh,
fucking who cares? But yes, that's what I really what is really was
the dial's pushing back to the I hate this fucking
was that the mother superior, whatever you want to call her, really she's just trying to manipulate the coven because she needs a new body, and the only way she can get a new body is if they believe that she is one of the 3 mothers, and that's what she's doing. She's manipulating the coven to give her youth again.
Right, and Tilda Swinton's character, Madame Blanc, does not want to give Susie up because she likes her.
Yeah.
Likes her. And I think Susie liked her back. Anyway, so there's a big blood orgy at the end.
Susan laughed out loud.
Yeah, that was you know what I hated? Slow-mo.
Yeah.
That looked really bad and cheap.
She was like, "Oh my god, the singing was so goofy." She was like, "This whole movie is," and you're right. It kind of goes to the switch in aesthetic. It almost felt so over the top that it didn't. It was comical.
It was a different movie at that point.
Yeah, and it was a complete shift in tone, and I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. Like, keep a consistent tone. Your tone should build to that. It should not switch to that. Right?
Yes.
You need to earn something like that.
Yes.
And you earn that gradually.
You talked about Mandy. It earned it.
Yep.
It earned that final shot of Nicolas Cage.
Sure shit did. Yeah.
So again, going back to the old man character, they need him as witness to this rebirth because he's a guy, I guess. I don't know. So muddled. Muddy.
This movie was built on shoehorns.
Yeah. And so then because surprise, Susie is actually the mother Suspirium.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess now our hero is evil. And yes, they kind of laid hints to that because she doesn't react to things quite right. And her mom, we're going to talk about the Mennonite thing here in just a second. Basically calls Susie her sin,
her
mistake, her blight, or whatever. Anyway, fuck that.
Yeah.
So okay, and again, I'm divorcing myself from the original where Susie is the hero,
right?
But Susie does something that I feel at the end of this movie is reprehensible, and I don't know what it's trying to say. So in the epilogue, she wins. She kills all the bad witches that wanted whatever. Saves the witches who voted for Madame Blanc to take over.
Right.
And now they're restarting the school, basically. She goes to Old Man's house. Old Man is sick from basically all the shit that was done to him in the final act. And she sits down and tells him what happened to his wife. I think to punish him. Then
Maybe.
One step further says, basically in so many words, we don't need your pity or your.
We need. It was something like we need pain, we need guilt, we need suffering,
but we don't need.
But
yours.
we don't need yours.
And she erases his memory of every woman he's ever known, including his wife.
Yep. Yeah, and what
fuck you movie.
And what's it trying to say?
What is that trying to say? Basically, because you made one mistake.
But it also is weirdly trying to show some kind of mercy But at the same time, it's not mercy.
That's an evil fucking act to do.
It is. And
he was paying for his guilt. He was paying for his mistake by the guilt that he felt, or at least the self-inflicted guilt he felt.
And beyond that, the guilt that he feels is still his connection to the love of his wife.
Yes.
That's very important. Like,
yes.
you can feel bad about things in your life that connect you to how the love that you feel in something. Like, that is important. Those things are not mutually exclusive. So to take one thing is to destroy the other.
This is a fucking postmodern nightmare. Put that on the poster.
Postmodern nightmare.
This is a condescending bullshit movie, man. I put that in my notes. You didn't agree with that initially,
I
but
think
I
I
think
do.
I think
I
you
think
do
I
now.
do.
This look, this movie has things to say, and some people pick up on it. People whose opinions I do care about picked up on the things it was trying to say, and had like legitimate, thought-provoking, good ideas about what this movie is trying to say. But to be honest with you, I'm never going to watch this movie again.
No, I have no need to.
I'm glad I saw it.
Sure.
I'm glad that it was a thing that was attempted. Sure. Why
I guess.
not?
I mean,
because people are going to attempt these things all the time, and fine, whatever. Good for you for attempting it. Good for you for trying to put your own message in it, but your message is shit. And it's condescending. This movie doesn't really ultimately succeed in anything it wants to say.
no.
Because it had too many things it was trying to say. It's like there is no good ending for a woman who is not either a Mennonite or a witch.
Yeah.
The ones all in the middle, the ones who aren't severely conservative or severely liberal, die horribly in this movie. What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
That's not a... and then the Mennonites is the actual big bad of the movie, as it turns out.
Kind of.
Maybe.
Because
ultimately Susie perpetrates the biggest sin of the movie of fucking over that old man so badly to remove his memories and his love of his wife. Fuck this.
But
I hate this fucking movie.
But that would be almost placing the victim on the villainry on the Mennonite when she realizes, she knows that she birthed evil, right? But what's that trying to say? Like, that's
because you weren't giving us anything other than clues that Susie's not like the other Mennonites.
Right. Oh God. It's a really shitty rotten onion, isn't it? Like, it's
like the
like, here it is. This is a movie that begs you to pick at it, but it doesn't hold up to any of the picking.
Yes. Yes. The funny thing is as angry as I am picking apart this movie, this isn't even the worst movie I've seen this year. When we get to that special episode or that episode when we talk about it, the funny thing is, though, it's that I almost out of spite want to make this the worst movie of the year.
Right. It's not, though.
But it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's the most unnecessary movie of the year, maybe.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, the movie I made of the 3 hour shit I took, that's probably a little bit more necessary.
Nobody needs that, Jeff. No.
But is it needed more than Suspiria's?
Well, some people might need that.
Some people might be into that.
There's a few people out there that would really like that, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Like a little too much.
Look, if you like this movie, fine. This movie is meant to be divisive, I think.
Yes.
Because it's art. This is why I don't go see art movies, Jason. This is why my top 5 list is full of fucking superheroes. And Paddington.
Paddington. That is making a lot of people's end of year lists already.
Yeah. Should. Fucking should. So anyway, if you like this movie, great. Fine. I'm glad to connect it to you. I'm glad you liked it.
I'd like to know why, though, honestly. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't care enough. I don't love or hate this movie enough to do that, but I am genuinely curious for good reasons why people like this movie. And when I say good, I don't mean I don't mean like a reason that I accept.
We're not going to arbitrarily draw the line.
I mean a reason that you can articulate thoughtfully. That's all I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Because I am curious. Most of the good reviews I've heard of this just kind of play to its pretension, and and that doesn't really follow for me. So,
yeah, I read some blurbs, and most people either are applauding the pretension or shitting on it.
Yeah,
and it's divisive. It is about 50-50 as far as what critics think of it, at least, and what the general public think of it. Although I don't know. Man, I just want to be done with this.
Well, we are.
Okay.
We're done. We're moving on.
There are so many other things we could talk about as far as like the little things they try to put in, but fuck it. So
I think our thoughts are now on record.
Yeah. And this is even 10 minutes longer than I thought it was going to be. So anyway, if you like it, great, fine. We're not going to say you're an idiot for liking it. We're not going to say that whatever reasons you didn't like that we might have liked or that we didn't talk about is invalid. I mean, we're not going to draw those arbitrary lines. We would be curious why you came to the conclusions you came, but you don't have to share them with us. I mean, because I don't want to argue back that it's just something I didn't like or feel this anger that I feel right now. Again. I'm going to go to a Zen place.
Jeff is going in. What do you do? You're doing your like Luke Skywalker force meditation
on a rock. I've got a rock outside.
Yeah,
I
he's
got
levitating.
I got that I got that cement dinosaur on my porch. I'm going to sit on. It's whatever. It's fine.
All right. Well, moving on then.
Yeah. So
hope you enjoyed our special episode.
This is a special episode of Rage. So we've got a new episode coming up in a couple of days. It's In the Mouth of Madness.
Yes.
A movie that uses some weird ideas to its benefit. Mm-hmm. You can always check out new episodes every Wednesday to filmseizure.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those good things.
We're on the YouTube.
Yeah, we've got YouTube episodes. Yeah, I'm starting to post those up there. So if you like looking at a placard for an hour and a half, you can watch our episodes there.
We have a channel you can subscribe to.
Yes.
So maybe you're just more comfortable on YouTube than SoundCloud. That's fine.
Perfectly fine.
We have a place for you on YouTube.
Yeah, we open our doors and our arms to you, even if we disagree on movies.
Yes, always and forever.
Yes. Unless you really dislike the movies I really like.
Yeah, because then we'll fight.
We'll fucking fuck you up.
Because that's
what
what it's all about in this world is fighting over movies.
And it's all about our patriarchal opinions and our decisions against yours. All right. You can also read stuff from me on bmovieanima.com. That's every Friday. I try to be funny over there.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm more articulate over there when I get mad at something.
You're more bombastic.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Definitely not mine. Well, it is me, but it's not like it's like a hyper realized.
Yeah, it's Jeff's id run wild, and it's really fun to read.
Yeah. So you can do those things until Wednesday, when you can hear about John Carpenter's kooky monster, Lovecraftian monsters. Mm-hmm. I am Geoff Arbuckle.
I'm Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.